Amagi Metals, where financial freedom is yours.
Hello, all Amagi fans, followers, and listeners. Today for the Amagi interview series, we have a special guest. He is the manager of Hart Pharmacy in Lamarck, Texas, and has established a sound money way to run his company and his company's outreach. And I thought this would be a really exciting story to share, as more and more people are incorporating alternative currencies into their day-to-day lives all over the world. So thank you so much, John Hart, for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you. Pretty good so far.
So I want to just know a little bit about Hart Pharmacy, how long it's been around, and what the mission of the business is.
We opened up back in 1986. I believe it was April 1st of all days. And when we started off, it was my mom and dad. And I, at the time, was not a pharmacy technician. I was just kind of working as a clerk here. And over the years, I kind of become more of a manager. When my mother died back in 2012, actually on her deathbed, she was within 7 days of dying. She actually asked me to run the pharmacy. My dad just does not like paperwork. And she was worried. You know, he's a good pharmacist, but when it comes to paperwork, he just does not like that, and I unfortunately can now sympathize heavily with him. I told Mom nobody would miss her more than me because I didn't want to have the headache of all the paperwork. And we kind of are trying to bring back that old pharmacy feel. You know, when you come in, we call you by name. My dad believed that if you needed somebody in the middle of the night, you could call up an emergency phone number, kind of like in the 1950s when he grew up. Just your hometown pharmacy, so that we weren't some big conglomerate like Walmart or Walgreens or somebody who really doesn't know your name. You're just a number, and they just get you in and out of there. And so we do a lot of things with local community, especially with the library. That was my mother's, I think, her major thing she liked doing as far as charity work. She liked helping kids to read because that was one of her favorite pastimes when she was growing up. So we try to be involved in the community in various ways.
And before we go into how, the meat of why we're going to sit down and talk today and why we're so fascinated with what Hart Pharmacy is doing, I'm just curious, since you're in the industry, how is the recent overhaul in the healthcare system affecting your operations?
Basically, this Obamacare is gutting pharmacy. The way the law states, starting in January of 2014, drug manufacturers were not supposed to be allowed to raise the rates of their medicine without prior government approval. Well, since the government's going to be the number one payer, most of these drug companies said, well, if we don't raise it now, they're never going to give us permission to raise it. So we saw medications go from $8 a bottle to $550 some odd dollars a bottle. We saw one medicine, carbamazepine. It's a generic that's been out for a long time. $20 a bottle 1 month. The next month, $300 a bottle. We found out that there was a caveat in that they couldn't raise their prices, in the fact that if there was a shortage, they could raise the rate of their medicine without the government approval. So now you've got shortages of medicines out there. Well, we kind of started noticing this back in June of 2013. We saw one medicine go from $38 a bottle to $212, I think it was. Might be $300. I forget how much it is now. And I wondered why. The second medicine that happened with that was like $8 a bottle, went up to only $65. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're only charging people $5 for a prescription, it starts to add up. So we looked at that, found out about that law, and we started stocking up as much as we possibly could. So we would find out what it would take to order a year's worth of medicine and keep it here at the pharmacy. Thereby, when the medicines rose up in price, we could continue to give it to our customers at the old price, because insurance companies, they don't want to pay the new price. They don't want to pay the new price for a year. So it was either not have any customers because we couldn't afford to give them their medicine, or bite the bullet and, do as much as we possibly can now. So we have a ton of medicine stocked up at this point. Unfortunately, some of those medicines started to expire, And this is what was kind of weird. Because those medicines got more expensive, we were able to return them when they expired at the increased value. Now, we only get credit for it, but we actually, one medicine would cost us like $25 a bottle, and we returned it for $37 a bottle because that's what the current rate was. But we had like a bunch of them, a couple hundred of them, and so we made several thousands of dollars in credit. So I started thinking, what should I do with this? Should I buy more medicine? We were mostly stocked up. And I started hearing about the quantitative easing that was going on with the government and hyperinflation and all that goodness. And I thought, well, maybe we should buy some foreign currency because the American dollar, we thought, was going to start devaluing and just not be worth much. And then I thought, well, why do I want to buy foreign currency when I can just buy silver? Me and my wife had went to the Renaissance. And at the Renaissance, there was a gentleman who had an old-style Da Vinci press for minting coins. And I thought that was a neat idea. When my sister asked me, how to handle some of my father's his investments, I kind of started putting two to two together and thought, why don't we do something like buy silver? And I thought we were just going to buy some silver rounds and press it out ourselves. But that got to be kind of labor prohibitive. So I started thinking, well, what would I need to buy? We looked over the internet and came across some Amagi metals, and y'all had the ability, and y'all worked with us as far as making a design for our coinage. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with it after that? So I thought back to the library. And the way the library works is when they have a summer reading program, the children earn, like for every 20 books they read based on their age category or whatnot, they get like little prizes. Usually it's something like an ice cream voucher from McDonald's. Well, I was wondering what was the lowest amount we could offer them in silver, and it's a 1 gram piece of silver. So I started putting two to two together and thought, if I could get them to get a 1 gram, and we could make a 1/10, a 1/2, a 1/4, and a 1 ounce, we could eventually have them go through all of the coinage, and the fact that they would sort of trade it up. And I've talked to the local newspaper. It would allow us, for all the individuals who had earned enough silver coins to earn an ounce worth, which is 31 grams of Troy silver, to get their picture in a paper. And so they'll get their picture in a paper. All of our metal, our silver rounds will have the Hart Pharmacy stamp. And when we give this away, they're not just going to turn in for a voucher. They're going to want to keep this because it's actually money. I've went to other places here in our city and I've told them if they accept the silver, we'll buy it back from them so that they know that they can accept it for a set value. Like I think a 1/10 round would be $2. So this way the children will learn that this is actual money. It's not just something that they're going to want to throw away, and it's just not a voucher that they're not going to get, because their parents are going to see, hey, this is money. And it's going to have the Hart Pharmacy name on it. So anytime they're wondering where this came from, that's what's on the head of the coin.
I just think it's fantastic because this is a demographic that needs to learn about saving and real money, because unfortunately the way that our economy is going right now and the future of the dollar is so uncertain that they're going to need other ways to preserve their wealth and other ways to hedge against a coming economic collapse.
We're going to incorporate how much the cost of silver is and what we might sell those silver rounds for, or what their current value is, on our website, so that this way when we pass them out, we can tell people they can come to our website to find out how much they're worth. And this way it brings more traffic to our website for new people that may want to come to us. It's a really good way of advertising. What better way than to give away money for people to go, oh, you know what, I'm going to check these guys out. So they'll want to check back over and over again, and as they see that value increase, because we think silver is going to go up in value, I'm hoping they're going to look at that and go, man, Hart Pharmacy is really looking out for us. In fact, that they're looking ahead and not just the next dollar down the road like Walmart and Walgreens and all the rest of those guys do. So I'm hoping we get a whole new, fresh batch of clientele in that we can help, that we've taught what money is. It's not just this green stuff that you get from the government, but it could be in silver, just like it was in the old days.
Right, and I guess my other question for you is, if people visit your pharmacy, can they use any type of silver to purchase their prescription? If I were to come with a couple, Silver Eagles or something like that, would I be able to buy my prescription with silver?
Yes. We are needing to find a way to make sure we can test it, to make sure it's not just somebody trying to stamp them out. But I don't think that's going to be easily counterfeited. So as long as it's something, because we've actually received counterfeit American currency, 20s and 100s. I don't think you can counterfeit silver like you can American currency. So yeah, we would take silver. I guess I'd even take gold, although I'd have to really check on what the price of gold is that day.
Mm-hmm. What kind of response have you received from the community outside of the newspaper that you've been in touch with? Have you had any parents or any of the kids from the library have any comments?
A lot of people, our customers, everybody else. I've already had people go, well, as soon as you get a set, I want to buy a set. Now, I never even anticipated actually just selling them for profit. I just anticipated them kind of being used more as an advertisement ploy. And I've already got people going, I want 2 or 3 of those sets. Once you get everything, let me know. So the next thing we were going to do is we were going to have a drawing at Christmas time once we have all of those done. And people will just sign on, give us their phone number, their email address so that we could contact them. And I'll have them sign on to win a set of silver. So this way we can get current information for all of our customers. But I have not had anybody say this is a bad idea at all. Everybody said that's brilliant. They like that idea because silver is only going to increase in value. It's not going to decrease. So it may take a couple years for the advertisement part to pay off. But the actual value of the coin, it's already there. I mean, people are already thinking about how to, how do you change a tenth to a quarter and things like that. We got, I guess, some new problems, but they're good problems to have.
Best of luck with this, and it sounds like we're going to need an update once the program started, see what kind of circulation is happening, see what the young people's responses that are going to be getting their hands on this silver. So maybe we'll come back and check back in with you next summer and do a follow-up interview to hear more about it. People can visit amagimetals.com/info to check out our blog and read a little bit more about Hart Pharmacy's project to educate young people on sound money by creating their own silver currency down in Lamarck, Texas. Silver and gold have been around for thousands of years as a storage of wealth and as money. So although this is very revolutionary what you're doing, it's bringing things back to a more simplistic way of being, to a hard asset, something that has finite resources, something that can't be inflated by central banks. So it's very important, and for those of you listening, if you want to learn more about sound money, you can visit amagimetals.com and click on the Knowledge Center, and you can learn about stories like John Hart here at Hart Pharmacy. So, John, thank you so much for sharing your story. I think this is really going to be inspirational for other business owners who are looking to find some creative outreach and also educate people in their communities on sound money. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.